What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 4 of the M1 Concourse turn-by-turn tutorial, and today we're going to be looking at the 3-turn combination of turns 7, 8, and 9. Okay, now let's break it down. We're coming down the back straight, the longest straight of the track. We're track left, looking for your braking marker cones on the left-hand side. Now keep in mind your braking point is going to be different depending on your car and how fast you're going, and you'll need to adjust those as you get faster. All right, here we're braking at about the 4 marker. We're starting to apply the brake. We're still track left, looking ahead to the turn-in cone for turn 7. It's going to be at the very end of the straightaway on your left. We're making sure to stay track left all the way to that red cone. Once we get to that red cone, we begin our turn in. Don't get fixated on the curbing on the right hand side here. That's not used for this track direction. You're going to want to stay in the middle of the track, and I like to look for the seam in the center of the track and begin to straddle that seam here. We've got our eyes up and we're looking far ahead to the apex cone of turn 7, and that's when we start to make our way down to that apex. Gradually working our way down. Now it appears on screen. You can see the apex cone of 7. So we're going to slowly transition from the center of the track all the way down to the apex on the right. We're getting very close to that apex with our right front tire, and we're already looking ahead to the track out point of turn 7. You can see it in line with the white building. We're unwinding the wheel and tracking all the way out to the left. You can see we started to apply throttle before we even got to the apex. Look how far back we're starting to apply throttle as we're exiting this corner. Make sure not to dip your left front tire off that yellow strip at the track out point. There's usually some holes there, and you don't want to dip a tire into that hole. Now we've got our eyes up, looking up the hill. We can see the apex of turn 8 already. And we're wide open throttle going up the hill. This turn-in cone is a little bit late here. I like to begin my turn-in early and just cut the corner of 8. We're not wide open throttle here, but we're also not coasting. We're still accelerating. We can ride the curbing a little bit on the right-hand side at the apex of turn 8. Don't overdo it here and hit the cone. We're still on the throttle. We're managing throttle. We're not wide open, but we're still on it. You need to be very careful here not to chop out of the throttle as we crest the hill. That will unweight the rear tires, make it light, and so will cresting the hill, and that can bring the back end around. Now we're adding a little bit of throttle here. We're not tracking out all the way to the left side between 8 and 9. We're maintaining The middle of the track right here, you gotta be careful on the left. There's usually a lot of marbles. There's not much traction there. The best traction is at the middle of the track. And we're looking far ahead to the turn-in point of 9. You can see the red cone in view here. We're still on the throttle. Now we're off the throttle. You can see the braking cones, and we're starting to apply the brake. Depending on the vehicle, you may be able to brake even later here, but as you can see, we're already doing 97 miles an hour, and we need to get it slowed down for the tight left-hander of turn 9. So now we're making our way back to the right. We're on the brakes, and we're going to use this crossover paved area here to increase the radius of turn 9. Although be very careful not to dip a wheel under the dirt. There's another hole here on the right. Now we're straddling this red and white line to increase the radius of turn 9. We can see the turn-in cone, the red turn-in cone for turn 9, and we're headed straight for that here to the last second. As we begin to turn in for 9, we've got our eyes up to the apex cone of 9. And now we can see the track out cone for 9, and we're going all the way out to the right, unwinding the wheel. Now let's take a look at that again in full speed. So we have turn 7, which is a long sweeper, almost 180 degrees. A short straightaway that's uphill into an uphill right-hand kink through 8. Another short straight going to turn 9, which is a tight left-hander that is more than 90 degrees. Flag stand at 4. They can see down the back straight all the way down to turn 6 and all the way through turn 7 and up to 8. There's another flag stand at 8. They can also see across this whole area here and down to turn 9 and through 10A. Okay, we're going to be coming down the back straight, track left in our braking zone, looking for that turn-in cone at the very end of the straightaway on our left. As we get to that turn-in cone, we're going to start the long sweeper, making our way to the middle of the track. Using that seam, straddling it through the middle here, looking for the apex of 7 as we work our way down to the apex of 7. Got our eyes up to the track out point of 7. And here we should be looking for the apex of turn 8. You're going to see a turn-in cone for turn 8. It's a little bit late. I like to turn in a little bit early and cut that corner for turn 8. Slightly riding the curb in 8. Making my way to the middle of the track between 8 and 9, not all the way track left. And then quickly back to track right. Using all the asphalt here of the crossover, I'm straddling the red and white line. Going straight for the turning cone of 9. Right before the turning cone, I'm cutting in to the apex of 9 and then tracking all the way out to the right. Sometimes the rules are different and they do not want you using this area of the crossover as part of the track. So follow the instructors. If If they tell you not to use that area, you're gonna have to stay to the left of the red and white line here, keeping it along this line until the turn-in point for 9. Closer look at that turn 9 trick. So this line right here is technically the edge of the track. There's a track edge line there. It's red and white. Some track day rules, they may not let you cross that line. So you'll be coming out of turn 8 here in the middle of the track and right along that line, turning in at the turn-in cone, apex of 9, and then track out. It's a very tight corner. It's more than 90 degrees. Now, if you are able to straddle this line and get the car turned in here, you are essentially getting the car pointed in the right direction for turn 9 earlier. Making it easier on the car and the tires to make that corner. You're also increasing the radius of turn 9. A larger radius turn, you'll be able to take at a faster speed. The 7, 8, 9 combination is one of the fastest areas on the track to pick up time. There's a lot of time to be had by staying in the throttle up through 8 and staying into the throttle deep in between 9 and 10, if you've got the guts to do it. It is also one of the most dangerous places on the track to do that. So use extreme caution. You got to remember that if you go too deep into 9, that's your runoff right there. Very short runoff before the tire barrier. If you try to make the turn and go wide, that's the Armco right there. So be very careful when pushing it deep into 9. Okay, let's take a look at some of the mistakes people make through 7, 8, and 9. Coming down the back straight, a lot of the time I'll see people in the middle of the track here, or even if they are track left, they will start to creep early because they'll see this curbing on the right and apex here, and that just scrubs speed. Sometimes they'll stay all the way track right through 7, or they'll turn 7 into a double apex. And you may remember the V line from turns 5 and 6, but that's not the way to go through 7. This is a fast corner. You want to maintain speed through here. You don't want to scrub too much speed. So you want to stay track left to the turning cone, middle of the track, down to the apex, and track out. Now let's look at some of the mistakes through 8. Sometimes people wait too long for the turning cone, and that's not going to hurt you very much. Waiting too late can scrub a lot of speed through 8. But I think the biggest issue for speed through 8 that I see is lifting. It's an uphill right-hand kink, and usually people are lifting here and just basically coasting through 8. That usually results in them staying track right here and not using as much of the track as they can. You want to get to the middle of the track here. Again, not all the way track left here, but you do want to stay in the middle. One of the mistakes I see through turn 9 is apexing early, and that will just result in scrubbing speed, or if you're going too fast, that can put you over there. So you want to wait till that turning cone, turn in, apex, and track all the way out. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I see in 9 is not tracking all the way out. apexing, and then just staying to the left because we've got 10A coming up and you need to be to the left, but you want to use all the track here out of 9, track all the way to the right, and that'll set you up better for 10A. Now let's take a look at another line through turn 7. This was during a time attack lap. I was going too hot through 7 and I started to hear some tire squeal. So rather than lift off the throttle so that I could make it down to the apex and scrub some speed, I decided to maintain a bit of throttle and just give up the apex. And I stayed a little bit more towards the middle of the track, still tracked out fine, stayed on track, and it resulted in the fastest lap ever. So let's take a look at the data. So the top video is that fastest lap ever where we missed the apex. Bottom video is the video we previously watched. And you can see in the faster lap, take a wider arc through 7. And we end up a little bit faster here. We're still at the middle of the track. We're not making our way down to the apex yet. This is where we started to hear some tire squeal. It was understeering a little bit. So rather than adding steering angle, scrubbing speed, and getting down to the apex, I did a little bit of throttle steering. You could see, actually I lifted a little bit. I'm not on the throttle quite as much. I'm trying to reduce that understeer, but I'm taking a wider arc. And I'm back on the throttle. And if you look at the fine data, I'm on the throttle sooner in the faster lap. Still stay on track, still track all the way out to the track out point of 9. And that caused a faster corner exit speed. We're actually going a little bit faster out of 7. We're a little bit faster up the hill. We're still wide open throttle here on both. There we go. We're staying into it longer. Staying on the throttle longer up the hill. And that's what gave us our faster lap time. We're on the throttle longer up the hill. We're holding into it. Now we're lifting a little, but we're 3 miles an hour faster. 4 miles an hour faster here. All right, 3 to 4 miles an hour faster, and we're lifting off, doing 100 miles an hour coming into turn 9. So again, 7, 8, 9 is probably the best place on the track to make big time improvements. If you can stay into it through 7, 8, and 9 up the hill, you can become very fast. I hope you like this tutorial of M1 Concourse turns 7, 8, and 9. Stay tuned in the next episode for the last 2 corners, 10A and B. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.